Hello, everybody, and welcome back. My name is Kane Del Sol, and this is a Satanic Perspective. Today, we're going to jump right into the deep end and approach the question of what is Satanism? In this video, and any similar videos I make in the future, I'm going to try and avoid some common fallacies and not assume truth to anything. I'm not going to pretend I know everything, or that everything I say is 100% true. I am simply here to present to you certain perspectives. Things may be different for you, as they are with everyone. No one on Earth has the exact same experience or perspective, and lumping everyone together is really rather silly. And of course, I encourage you to do your own research and find your own truth in this. So then, what is Satanism? Satanism is not a religion by common conception. It is a vehicle, and it is an experience. To really understand that, you have to understand the roots of Satanism as we know it. Satanism gets its name from the character in biblical myth that we all know as Satan, Ha-Satan, in Hebrew and Aramaic. The name means the accuser, or the opposer. Now, Satan in the Hebrew Bible, or Old Testament for you Christians, was not necessarily a bad guy. He didn't become the enemy of God until much later down the line. Instead, Satan was seen as an emissary of their God. Stories I have heard say that Satan would basically act as the prosecutor in the trial of your afterlife, and would tempt mankind during life as a way to strengthen the devoted and weed out any that were undeserving. The real bad guys in the Old Testament were generally the gods of other civilizations, like Moloch, Ashtoreth, and Dagon. Later on, the character of Satan was identified with all sorts of other myths and deities, and became the personification of evil, as the adversary. In this, we have the first explanation of Satanism. In a similar manner to how Christianity is supposed to be about being like Christ or Christ-like, Satanism is about embodying the archetype of Satan. This is, of course, the goal of most mystical beliefs, to be as the incarnation of your God. With Satan being the current established archetype of rebellion and opposition, to be a Satanist is to embody that rebellion yourself. This opens the door to quite a bit of personal interpretation, of course, but this means that the Satanist, if they are to be a proper one, is to go against the grain of society and authority in all things. Many people pick and choose which aspects of society, or even which society, they rebel against, with the Christian church being the most common. However, this can be expanded to a great number of areas. For instance, rigid atheism and a theistic community could be satanic. Musical exploration and experimentation within a community that creates or listens to formulaic pop music could be considered satanic in nature. Nowadays, in America, it could be said that the pursuit of knowledge and freedom is the ultimate satanic act, as the authoritarian ideologies that have permeated our society for so long have a tendency to do their best to keep the population confused and in the dark. Much easier to control the people when you control their sources of information. Also means it's much harder to be controlled when you think critically and constantly seek objective sources of information. Because of the nature of this, however, people can be satanic or commit satanic acts without knowledge or intention. This also leaves the theistic aspect to interpretation by the individual, so you can be a Satanist and worship any adversarial or night side entity, as they all follow as emissaries or vehicles of the satanic energy and archetype. This brings us to the second explanation of Satanism. Satanism as an experience. Now, this part is hard to describe to people who are not currently on the path of Satanism, but I'll do my best. On the metaphysical and mental stages, Satanism is a specific form of growth through which a Satanist becomes more and more their true self, shedding illusions and weakness by putting themselves in a place of adversity. Once again, going against the grain of their society, taking the path less traveled. While truly not a rigid formula, those who experience it still go through the same general phases of this process of becoming, which is why I still could say it is a path. These phases are doubt, apostasy, and devotion. For the sake of simplicity, let's use little Timmy as a metaphor. Now, Timmy has been in the Christian church for all of his short little life so far, and he loves it. In fact, at a young age, he realizes he wants to know more about the Bible so he can be a really good Christian when he grows up. So Timmy starts reading, and reading brings questions. When he asks the elders at the church things like why God can't beat chariots of iron, or why he created evil and then got mad at us for it, They get angry, or tell him not to question. But that just makes Timmy question more. Eventually, Timmy leaves the church, disillusioned by the hypocrisy and ignorance he's seen. The more he reads, the more he realizes that maybe those people really didn't know what they were talking about. Timmy decides he doesn't believe in anything anymore, and decides to try all the things the church specifically told him not to, just to see for himself. This leads Timmy to experience the world in a new and fantastic way that he never could have dreamed of before. Some things call to Timmy more than others. He doesn't know why. He just likes them more. Feels more fulfilled, less burdened. The more he pursues them, the more he becomes his true self. This is Satanism. It is the process of becoming, of Kepher, and also The Hero's Journey by Joseph Campbell. Read it sometime. It's fun. In either case, we have our process. We doubt what is, we leave our comfort zone, and discover and devote ourselves to our own fulfillment and mastery. While I have my personal feelings about atheists calling themselves Satanists, I admit that by my own definition, atheists can be satanic and follow its processes. This does not make them Satanists, just that they act or think in a satanic method. So that is my very brief explanation of what it means to be a Satanist. I hope you learned a few things. I will continue to make videos on this subject since it goes much deeper anyway. If you have any questions or suggestions, put them in the comments below. Until next time, my name is Kane Del Sol, and this is A Satanic Perspective.